What if I told you your body might already be built to reach 100 years old? I know that sounds like a big claim, but stay with me for a moment. Because the truth is, the difference between people who stay active, sharp, and independent into their 90s and those who start struggling much earlier often comes down to something surprisingly simple. Not luck, not perfect genetics, and definitely not doing everything right. It comes down to what your body has avoided. Let me ask you something. If you've made it into your 60s or 70s and you've never had a heart attack, never been told you have diabetes, never experienced a stroke, never faced cancer, and you're still breathing easily without lung disease, have you ever stopped and thought about what that really means? Most people don't. They brush it off. They say, well, I guess I've been lucky. But after decades of observing thousands of patients, I can tell you this with absolute certainty. That's not luck. That is your body quietly telling you, I'm still strong, I'm still working, and I still have a lot more life left to give. Here's the reality. After the age of 60, most people don't lose their health all at once. It happens slowly, silently, one condition at a time. A little plaque in the arteries, a little sugar building up in the blood, a little pressure in the vessels, year after year, until one day it shows up as something serious. And by then, it's no longer easy to turn around. But here's the part most people never hear. If you've made it this far without those major conditions, you've already crossed the most dangerous part of the journey. You are not behind, you are ahead. And in today's video, I'm going to show you exactly why. We're going to walk through the 5 major diseases that shorten millions of lives every single year in America. And more importantly, what it means if your body has managed to avoid them so far. Because each one you've avoided is not just a win, it's a signal, a sign that your heart, your metabolism, your brain, your cells, and even your lungs are still functioning in a way that supports long life. And as we go through each one, I want you to think about your own health, not with fear, but with awareness. Because by the end of this video, you might realize something powerful. You're not just getting older, you might actually be aging better than you think. Now, before we go further, I want to hear from you. How old are you today? And how do you feel, honestly? Go ahead and drop it in the comments. I read more of them than you might expect, and your story could inspire someone else watching right now. And if you're someone who wants to stay healthy, independent, and active for as long as possible, make sure you subscribe and turn on the bell, because everything we talk about here is designed to help you do exactly that. Now, let's start with a condition that takes more lives than almost anything else, and the one that most people misunderstand completely: heart disease, the biggest killer. Let's get straight to it. Heart disease is still the #1 reason people don't make it into their later years with strength and independence. And here's what surprises most people: it doesn't usually start with a dramatic moment. It starts quietly, years, sometimes decades, before anyone notices a problem. Inside your body, tiny deposits begin forming along the walls of your arteries. Not enough to feel, not enough to hurt, but enough to slowly narrow the space where blood needs to flow. At the same time, blood pressure begins to creep up. The heart has to push harder. The vessels become a little stiffer. And little by little, the system that once worked effortlessly starts working overtime. That's how heart disease develops, not overnight, but over time. Now, here's the part one wants you to really think about. If you've made it into your 60s or 70s and you've never had a heart attack, never needed a stent, and you're not dealing with serious heart issues, that is a big deal. It means your arteries are still doing their job, your circulation is still strong, and your heart is still keeping pace with your life. I once knew a man, let's call him Walter. He came in for a routine checkup at 81 years old. No history of heart problems, no surgeries, no long list of medications. When his results came back, they didn't look like someone in their 80s. They looked decades younger. So I asked him, "What's your secret?" He smiled and said something I've never forgotten. "Doc, I just never gave my heart a reason to quit on me." That was it. No complicated plan, no extreme routines. He walked every morning, he ate simple meals. He didn't hold on to anger, and he made time to laugh. Simple habits done consistently. And that's the key most people miss. You don't need perfection to protect your heart. You need consistency. Even gentle movement, like walking around your neighborhood, doing a bit of gardening, or stretching in the morning, keeps your blood flowing and your arteries flexible. Food matters too, not fancy diets, just real food. Meals with fiber, healthy fats, and natural ingredients help keep those arteries clear over time. But here's something many people overlook: your emotional health plays a bigger role than you might think. Stress isn't just in your head, it shows up in your body. When stress sticks around too long, it raises a hormone called cortisol, and over time, that hormone can damage your blood vessels faster than many unhealthy foods. That's why people who learn to let things go, who don't carry every frustration with them, often protect their hearts in ways they don't even realize. Now, let me say this clearly. If you've avoided heart disease so far, that's something to be grateful for, but it's not something to ignore because many people develop silent issues later on: high blood pressure without symptoms, irregular heart rhythms that go unnoticed. That's why regular checkups matter. Keeping an eye on your blood pressure, cholesterol, and resting heart rate can help you catch small changes before they become big problems. Think of it as protecting everything you've already built, because your heart doesn't just affect how long you live, it affects how well you live. When your heart is strong, your energy stays up, your mind stays clearer, your body keeps moving the way you want it to. So if you're sitting here today with a healthy heart, you're not just doing okay, you're doing better than millions of people your age, and that's something worth protecting every single day. Now let's move to the next condition, the one that quietly speeds up aging in almost every part of the body: diabetes, the silent accelerator of aging. Let's talk about something that doesn't just affect one part of your body, it affects everything. Diabetes. This is one of the few conditions that can quietly speed up aging from the inside out. Your blood vessels, your nerves, your kidneys, your eyes, even your brain. All of them are affected when blood sugar stays too high for too long. But here's what many people don't realize: diabetes doesn't begin the day you're diagnosed, it starts years earlier, slowly, silently. At first, your body handles sugar just fine. You eat, your blood sugar rises a little, and insulin helps move that sugar into your cells where it's used for energy. But over time, if the system is overworked, your cells stop responding the way they should. That's called insulin resistance. And when that happens, sugar starts building up in the bloodstream instead of being used properly. The blood becomes thicker, circulation slows down, and damage begins, little by little, across the entire body. Now, here's the important part. If you've made it into your 60s or 70s and you've never been told you have diabetes, that says something powerful about your body. It means your system is still balanced. Your metabolism is still working with you, not against you. I remember a man, let's call him Harold. He was 84 years old. No medications, no special diet plan, no complicated routine, but his blood work, remarkably clean. So I asked him what he did differently. He said something so simple, it almost sounded too easy. I eat until I'm satisfied, not until I'm full. That was his rule. He didn't overeat. He stayed active, yard work, walking, staying busy. He avoided sugary drinks and didn't snack all day. Nothing extreme, just awareness. And that's what metabolic health often comes down to: listening to your body before it starts sending stronger warning signs. Because once blood sugar stays high for too long, the effects spread quickly. Arteries become stiffer, the heart works harder, the risk of memory problems increases. That's why people who avoid diabetes often stay sharper, more energetic, and more independent as they age. Their bodies are still running efficiently. Energy goes where it's needed, repair systems keep working, and nothing is being overloaded. Now, if that's you, you're in a very strong position. But just like we said before, this isn't something you set and forget. Your daily habits still matter. Simple things make a big difference: eating balanced meals with vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins, drinking enough water throughout the day, getting good sleep because poor sleep can actually raise blood sugar, and staying active, even in small ways. It all works together. And here's something I want you to take personally. If you've avoided diabetes up to this point, your body is showing you that it still knows how to maintain balance. That's not common, and it's definitely not something to take lightly. So protect it. Stay aware of what you eat. Pay attention to how you feel after meals. Keep moving because this condition doesn't just take years off your life, it changes the quality of the years you have left. Now, before we move on, I want to check in with you. If you're still watching, type the number 2 in the comments. It lets me know you're here and it helps more people like you find this video. And if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do that now. We've got a lot more to cover and you don't want to miss what's coming next. Because the next condition is the one that can change a life in a single moment: stroke and circulation, the instant life changer. This next one is different because, unlike the others, this doesn't always give you years of warning. It can happen in a moment. A stroke. 1 minute, everything feels normal. The next, speech becomes difficult. An arm won't move. Balance disappears. And life changes instantly. That's what makes stroke and circulatory disease so serious. It's not just about survival, it's about what happens after: loss of independence, loss of mobility, sometimes even loss of memory or personality. Now, here's the part one want you to focus on. If you've made it this far in life and you've never experienced a stroke, a mini stroke, or a serious circulation issue, that says something incredibly important about your body. Your blood vessels are still doing their job. They're carrying oxygen to your brain efficiently, they're maintaining steady pressure, and they're adapting the way they're supposed to, even after decades of use. Because a stroke usually happens for one of two reasons: either a clot blocks blood flow to the brain, or a weakened blood vessel bursts. In both cases, the brain is suddenly cut off from the oxygen it needs, and brain cells don't wait. They begin to die within minutes. That's why prevention matters so much here. And if you've avoided this so far, your system is doing something right. I remember a woman, let's call her Ruth. She was 86 years old. Every morning, she walked the same route: not fast, not far, just steady. And every night before bed, she spent about 15 minutes in complete quiet. No television, no phone, just slow breathing, letting the day settle. When her vascular health was tested, her arteries were in remarkable condition, far better than most people decades younger. So I asked her what her secret was. She said something simple but powerful: "I never let anger stay with me overnight." Now think about that. Because stress doesn't just affect your mood, it affects your blood vessels. Chronic stress tightens arteries, raises blood pressure, and over time, it increases the risk of clots and damage. But calm does the opposite. It allows your body to repair, to relax, to keep blood flowing the way it should. That's not just philosophy, that's biology. And there's another piece to this: blood pressure. You've probably heard it called the silent killer. And there's a reason for that. Most people don't feel it rising. No pain, no warning signs, until something serious happens. But if your blood pressure has stayed under control, whether through lifestyle, medication, or both, you've protected more than just your heart. You've protected your brain, your kidneys, your eyes, your entire circulatory system. And here's something many people don't talk about: good circulation affects how you age. When blood flows properly, your hands stay warm, your thinking stays clear, your body recovers faster. Even your skin and muscles benefit. It's all connected. So if you've reached this stage of life without a stroke or major circulation issue, you're not just lucky. Your internal system is still strong, still responsive, still capable. But just like everything we've talked about, this is something to maintain. Keep moving your body, stay hydrated, monitor your blood pressure regularly. And most importantly, learn to release stress instead of carrying it. Because protecting your circulation is really about protecting your independence, your ability to walk, speak, think, and live life on your own terms. Now, before we move forward, I want to hear from you. Have you ever checked your blood pressure recently? Drop a quick yes or no in the comments. And if it's been a while, take this as your reminder. Because what we're talking about here isn't small, it's life changing. Now let's move to the next condition, the one many people fear the most, but also one your body may already be quietly protecting you from: cancer, the hidden cellular battle. Let's talk about the one word that makes almost everyone pause: cancer. For many people, it feels unpredictable, almost random. But here's something most people don't realize: your body is dealing with potential cancer cells every single day, right now, as you're watching this. Cells in your body are constantly dividing, repairing, and replacing themselves. And occasionally, something goes wrong. A cell mutates, it stops following the normal rules. But in a healthy body, that's not the end of the story. Your immune system steps in. It recognizes the problem, targets those abnormal cells, and clears them out before they ever become dangerous, quietly, efficiently, without you ever knowing. That process is happening all the time. Now, think about this. If you've made it into your 60s, 70s, or beyond, and you've never been diagnosed with cancer, that tells us something powerful. Your body's defense system is still working. Your immune system is still alert. Your cells are still repairing themselves correctly. And your internal balance is still holding strong. Because cancer, at its core, is not just a disease. It's a breakdown in control, a breakdown in how cells grow, divide, and stop when they're supposed to. So if that system has stayed intact this long, you're doing something right. I remember a woman, let's call her Margaret. She lived to 101. And when people asked her what her secret was, she didn't talk about diets or workouts. She said something unexpected. I never let bitterness take root in my body. Now, that might sound simple, even poetic, but there's real science behind it. Long term stress, anger, and unresolved emotions can increase inflammation in the body, and chronic inflammation creates the kind of environment where abnormal cells have a better chance to grow. On the other hand, calm, connection, and emotional balance support your immune system. They help it stay active, responsive, and effective. Margaret also lived a simple lifestyle: plenty of vegetables, natural foods, time outdoors, sunlight, and strong relationships. Nothing extreme, but everything consistent. And that's a pattern I've seen over and over again. People who reach later life without cancer often have one thing in common: they pay attention. They don't ignore their bodies. They notice changes early. They go to their checkups. They follow through on screenings, even when they feel perfectly fine. Because early detection changes everything. A small issue caught early is very different from one found too late. And here's something important to remember: avoiding cancer isn't just about what you do, it's also about what you don't do. Not smoking, limiting alcohol, avoiding unnecessary toxins when possible. Those choices matter more than people think. So if you've avoided cancer up to this point, don't brush it off as luck. It's a reflection of your body working with you. Your cells are still following their natural rhythm. Your immune system is still standing guard, and that's something worth protecting. Support it with real food, with proper rest, with movement, with connection, and yes, even with peace of mind, because those aren't small things. They are some of the most powerful forms of protection your body has. Now, let me ask you something. When was the last time you had a full checkup or screening? If it's been a while, take this as your reminder. Go ahead and type "done" in the comments if you stay on top of your health, or "soon" if you know it's time. And if you're still with me, make sure you hit that like button. It helps this message reach more people who truly need it. Now, let's move to the final condition, the one most people overlook completely, but one that quietly determines how much energy, freedom, and independence you keep as you age. Lung health, the most overlooked factor. Let's talk about something most people don't think about until it becomes a problem: your lungs. Breathing feels automatic, doesn't it? You don't have to remind yourself to do it, it just happens. But here's the truth: your lungs are working every second of every day to keep you alive. And over time, just like the rest of your body, they can weaken if they're not cared for. And when that happens, you feel it: shortness of breath, low energy, fatigue from even simple activities. That's why lung health matters so much more than people realize, because oxygen is everything. Every cell in your body depends on it. Your brain, your heart, your muscles, all of them rely on your lungs doing their job well. Now, here's something important. If you've reached your 60s or 70s and you don't struggle with breathing, no chronic coughing, no constant shortness of breath, no diagnosis like COPD or chronic bronchitis, that's a big advantage. It means your lungs still have strength. They still expand and contract the way they should. They're still delivering oxygen efficiently, and that supports your entire body. Because when your lungs are strong, your heart doesn't have to overwork. Your brain stays sharper, your body has more energy. It's all connected. I once knew a man, let's call him Leonard. He lived past 100, and he didn't rely on supplements or complicated routines. But he had one habit he never skipped. Every single morning, he went outside and walked. Didn't matter if it was cold, didn't matter if it was cloudy, he moved. He breathed deeply. He kept his lungs active. And he used to say something I still remember: lungs don't stay strong by resting. And he was right. When you take deep breaths, when you move your body, when you expand your chest, you're keeping your lungs open. You're pushing out stale air. You're bringing in fresh oxygen. You're maintaining flexibility in the muscles that support breathing. And over time, that makes a difference because as we age, the lungs naturally become a bit stiffer. But inactivity makes that happen faster. Now, here's the good news: protecting your lungs doesn't require anything complicated. Simple habits go a long way. Take a few deep breaths throughout the day. Slow, steady, intentional. Keep your body moving, even if it's just walking around your home or outside. Stay hydrated because water helps keep your airways clear. And pay attention to your environment. Try to avoid heavy smoke, strong chemical cleaners, or poor air quality when possible. Even small changes, like opening windows for fresh air or keeping your space clean, can help your lungs over time. Food plays a role here too. Fruits like berries, leafy greens, citrus, even green tea. These are rich in antioxidants that help protect lung tissue from damage. Again, nothing extreme, just consistent care. And here's what I want you to understand: strong lungs don't just help you live longer, they help you live better. They give you the freedom to walk without stopping, to talk without gasping, to laugh, travel, and stay active. They protect your independence. So if you're breathing easily today, that's not something small. That's your body telling you it still has strength, it still has rhythm, and it's still working for you. Now, before we bring everything together, I want to ask you something simple. How does your breathing feel these days? Easy, or do you notice it getting harder? Drop a quick comment below. I'd love to hear from you. And if you're still with me, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications, because what we're about to talk about next might completely change how you see your own aging. So let's bring this all together. If you've made it this far in life and you've avoided heart disease, diabetes, stroke, cancer, and chronic lung disease, that's not just good news. That's a signal. Your body is telling you something very clear: I'm still capable, capable of healing, capable of adapting, capable of carrying you forward. And that's something many people don't fully recognize because we've been taught to think of aging as decline, as something that only moves in one direction. But that's not entirely true. Yes, the body changes, but it also responds to how you live, to how you think, to how you treat it every single day. And here's what I've seen over and over again: the people who live the longest and live the best don't chase youth. They respect rhythm. They don't try to fight time. They learn how to move with it. They eat simply, not perfectly, just consistently. They move their bodies every day, even if it's just a walk. They rest when they need to. They stay connected to people, to purpose, to life. And maybe most importantly, they don't carry what they don't need: stress, regret, bitterness. They let those things go because they understand something most people don't. Peace is powerful. It protects the heart, it supports the immune system, it keeps the mind clear, and all of that matters more than any trend, diet, or shortcut. So if you've reached this stage of life in good health, you haven't just been getting older, you've been building something: strength, resilience, balance. Now your job is simple: protect it, keep moving, keep choosing real food, keep your mind engaged, keep your relationship strong, and keep showing up for your life every single day. Because longevity isn't just about reaching a number, it's about how you feel when you wake up in the morning. It's about having the energy to do what you love, the freedom to live on your terms, and the ability to enjoy the years you've worked so hard to reach. So before you go, I want to hear from you. What's one habit, just one, that you're going to keep or improve after watching this? Go ahead and share it in the comments. Your answer might inspire someone else more than you realize. And if this video gave you a new perspective or helped you see your health differently, take a second to like it and share it with someone you care about, because this kind of information can truly make a difference. And if you haven't already, subscribe and turn on the bell. Because we're going to keep having these conversations, and each one is designed to help you stay strong, independent, and in control of your health. Thank you for spending this time with me. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.